Hello and welcome back to Tranquility du Jour, nourishing conversations about living a full and meaningful life with doses of tranquility. I'm your host, Kimberly Wilson, bringing you tranquility through this podcast since 2005. With the holidays right around the corner, today I'm going to be talking about my 10 tranquil holiday tips with hopes that you can find a little bit of tranquility among the craziness and hustle and bustle of the season. I'm so excited to share this episode with you, and I do find it to be just a good, refreshing resource. So you may have seen this or heard this first in 52 Weeks of Tranquility, which is the free program I released, my goodness, I think it was in 2015. And then also last year, I did a Tea with Kimberly episode about it. So I'll have a link to that Tea with Kimberly video episode in the show notes, which can be found at kimberlywilson.com/571. So a reminder to subscribe to Tranquility du Jour in your favorite podcast app. And I have links to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. And if you're new to Tranquility du Jour, there is a Learn More Here button in the show notes, and that's kimberlywilson.com/new. So one thing that I have mentioned in previous podcasts and just wanted to share, this was also in this week's Love Note, is that I have been doing some careful consideration around streamlining of my offerings. You know, it's like, okay, just because I've been doing something for 15 plus years, does that mean I need to continue it? What still feels like a great use of time and energy and whatnot? And so, I've kind of been in this frame of mind, I would say, since July. And so after careful consideration kind of around the streamlining, I've decided to let go of national and international in-person retreats, seasonal TDJ lives, and the book club to create more space and this juicy new program, Tranquility Coterie. And so a reminder that this Coterie is an immersive program designed to help you study, practice, and live tranquility with a like-hearted community throughout the entire year of 2022. And we're kicking off the year with a welcome soiree on New Year's Eve. Now, I've had some requests where people are like, oh, so no more free offerings. Oh, honey, yes, there are still plenty of free offerings and free offerings that I've been doing, such as this podcast, for 15, 16, is that 17 years now once we hit 2022. So from a free offerings perspective, yes, there is still the podcast. There's still the blog that I've been writing since 2004. And yes, you can find all of those over on the blog, all those blog posts. I don't know how many thousands of blog posts there are, but there's a lot. Tranquil Treasures, right? And this is your resource library for all Love Note subscribers. And each week whenever I send the Love Note out, which is now not necessarily weekly, but there's a link to it typically at the bottom of the page with just a gentle reminder. Click here and get right in with the password, and voila, you have a ton of really fun resources from yoga classes to meditation, etc. Of course, I'll still be posting over on Instagram, so you'll find free inspiration there. Leading pet loss support groups, free, and then occasional pop-ups, also free. So please know that although my attention is turning toward the Coterie in 2022, and I'll continue to streamline and kind of downsize my offerings, that I will still have plenty of free offerings for you that I hope you will be able to take advantage of, again, including this podcast. I'm debating whether or not I will take this podcast to every other week, though, instead of weekly. So I'm still kind of sussing that out. So if you have suggestions, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. hello@kimberlywilson.com. And then also, if you have any topics you're like, I really want to know this, I'll be sending a post out probably to the Love Notes subscribers, asking for feedback on like kind of an ask me anything sort of question for content. And then my thought is to kind of pull that together in a podcast or a podcast series for you. So give me a little bit of time as I suss all of this out kind of over the next month or so. But do look for that. And in the interim, if you have any suggestions, please don't hesitate to pass them along, because I love hearing from you. And I like to know who's on the other end of this microphone, who's listening. So thank you in advance. All right. So the other thing I want to mention is we have a New Year's virtual retreat. Now, if you're in the Coterie, this is part of your program, but the New Year's virtual retreat is happening on New Year's Day from 2 to 4 p.m. So during those 2 hours, we'll be doing reflection, journaling, and creative work together. There will also be an additional 1 hour that will be sent to you as a pre-recorded video focused on the season of new beginnings, and that will be yoga and meditation. So I'm doing that for a few reasons. I found that not everyone necessarily wants to move or move at that time through the yoga and meditation. And also 3 hours on Zoom on a Saturday is a lot. It's a lot. It can be quite taxing because many of us spend our lives on the computer, interacting with others. And so I just was like 3 hours on a Saturday. I just want to remove that from people's planners, right? So that you have 2 hours, but of course, it's encouraged if you would like to do that 1 hour video beforehand, but then we will meet up at 2 o'clock and start the reflection portion of the virtual retreat. So you can find out more information about that over at kimberlywilson.com/virtual retreat. And of course, would love to have you join us. We have an amazing group so far, in the Coterie, amazing. And then a wonderful group of ladies and gents who will be joining us on New Year's Day. All right, so let's talk 10 tranquility tips for the holidays. So the first one that I find to be quite helpful, even though you have to bundle up in most areas, is to get outside. So there's something about brisk, fresh outdoor air that can help to ground us. Oftentimes when clients are concerned about going home and a feeling of overwhelm, I encourage them to get out of the house, to go for a walk around the neighborhood. It can be really helpful to clear your head and just not have all the noise, right? Because sometimes when there's more than 2 people, it can get a bit noisy. And for some of us who are a bit on the highly sensitive scale, it's nice to have the quiet of nature. And it also helps to build and remind us of a sense of interconnection to all. I also find that this larger view helps put things more in perspective, right? So whenever you are out and about, it's helpful because, it's like, okay, was Aunt Eldna's comment, was it really that big of a deal? Okay, how can I let this go? What's it bringing up for me? Things along those lines. And it can be helpful to just have that space by getting outside. Number 2 is center yourself. So during the hustle and bustle, it's extra important to make time for self-care. So things like your favorite centering practices. I'm a sipping tea kind of girl. Maybe you're sitting on the meditation cushion, writing in your journal, or practicing on your yoga mat, or at your ballet bar, or soaking in the tub. Those are a few that I find to be quite helpful. Number 3, give. Right? So gift your loved ones with a batch of homemade jam. If you've never made homemade jam, it's kind of fun. And you can even use those tiny little mason jars and get, many gifts out of one batch. A beloved book. What's a book that you have found you really enjoy that you can share with others? An artisanal treat from a small business, or maybe a box of their favorite tea, or you could even whip up your own blend in a mason jar and give it to them. Or maybe tickets to see an exhibit or entertainment, such as a ballet. So thinking about things that are useful and consumable. Also volunteering, your time or donating to a special cause. Rescuing an animal. For the holidays, I gave my partner, in the honor of Belle Star, a flock of turkeys from an animal sanctuary. And so, rescuing an animal, adopting can be a really sweet thing. sponsoring a farm animal, and of course, adopting an orangutan. And there are many, many ways to do that, many, many resources. I tend to adopt mine annually from redapes.org. And you may recall I've had him on the podcast before, sharing the wonderful work that he does in Borneo. Number 4, be kind. This time of the year can be hard. And I will say, I am hearing this from everybody right now, how incredibly hard it is. So be gentle with yourself. And be gentle with others. Sometimes it's just nice to place your hand over your heart and remind yourself that you're doing the best you can and that others are too. So practice loving kindness meditation. Things like, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you have ease of body and mind. May you be at peace. So repeating something like that at the airport, right? Or at the train station. And you just kind of say this to yourself, of course. But, it's a way to send loving kindness to others who are, in a very hectic, harried state. Honor your growth. So this year has been hard. The past 21 months have been hard. So honor your growth. Notice the lessons you've learned and think about what's to come and what is your vision for all that lies ahead. Again, just be kind, be gentle to yourself. Number 5, breathe. So when you notice your shoulders are creeping up toward those ears or your heart's racing when you're stuck in traffic and you just feel stress building, tune into your breath. Inhale to the count of 4. Exhale to the count of 4. Repeat again and again. So let's do this together right now. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, 2, 3, and 4. So notice how just a little bit of breath work can make a big difference. All right, number 6, travel lightly and off-peak when you can, right? So print and save. I have in the show notes a Tranquil Travel checklist. And save space by rolling your TDJ pieces into your luggage. So that's the beauty about TDJ, my clothing line, is that you can just roll it right up and you can get many, many pieces in a small amount of space. Choose layers that are perfect for mixing and matching, dressing up or dressing down. And when possible, if possible, choose off-peak travel to avoid the congestion. I'll give an example. On the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, I was going out to be with my partner in West Virginia. And, I just kept watching how long it was going to take to get there. And it was like 2 hours and 15 minutes. And typically it's an hour and 45. And you may think like, oh, that's not a big deal, just an extra 30 minutes. But I was like, I just don't have the capacity to sit in traffic for 30 minutes additional, right? Because an hour and 45 is already a lot. So what did I do? I went out Thanksgiving morning and had a really good night's sleep here at home on Wednesday night. So sometimes just making slight shifts can make a really big difference in your sanity and also being able to show up and be present when you arrive. Number 7, express gratitude. So take time to appreciate the little things, right? A warm bath. My partner got me Lush bath bombs and I've gone through all of them. It was a Christmas present, but he gave it to me early and they're all gone now, right? But I've just been loving my nightly warm baths with, either Epsom salts or, various, pink Himalayan salts with like rose petals. I mean, there's just so many beautiful ways to make your bath an experience. A cozy bed. I'm like obsessed with my weighted blanket, a devoted fur baby, a scented candle, just noticing what are the things that help you feel calm and grounded and having a sense of gratitude for those. It's so easy to focus on what we don't have, right? Or what's missing. It's what our minds do. It's totally normal. And yet, can we shift it to be like, what's going well? What am I noticing that I'm grateful for? So studies do show that expressing gratitude can lower stress levels, help you sleep better, improve self-esteem, enhance empathy, and adjust your attitude. Number 8, exercise, right? So get moving. Exercise releases endorphins, reduces stress, and helps offset those extra holiday cookies, which, let's be honest, we're probably all going to have. So put on your hiking boots or your tennis shoes and hit the trails. Maybe roll out your yoga mat and do a few sun salutations. Grab your bike and begin pedaling. Try an online ballet class. I mean, come on, there are so many wonderful ones out there. And I will say, I tend to take from, here are my few resources: Ballet Academy East, where I have a few favorite teachers, Maryland Youth Ballet. These are all online. Vitality Ballet is where I do my point classes, the Washington Ballet. And then I was up in New York last weekend and I took the Joffrey Ballet. And that was my first in-person class since the pandemic. And she was doing Zoom during it. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can totally Zoom into this class, right? And so there are so many wonderful resources for those of you interested in little ballet. And I will tell you, I'm freaking obsessed. I love, love, love it. Number 9, celebrate. So if you're feeling a bit of the bah humbug blues, which happens, and again, I'm hearing from many, many people right now, put on your favorite holiday film, create a playlist of festive tunes, go see a childhood treat such as the Nutcracker, which I've seen twice, once in DC and then in New York over the weekend, which was just freaking beautiful. The sets were unbelievable. Of course, the dancing was amazing too, but the sets blew me away. And put up a few holiday decorations to evoke good memories. Why not have twinkle lights year round, right? And review the year and list your highlights. So do a little reflection there. We'll do a lot more of that in our virtual retreat on January 1st, which you could get a head start. And also just thinking, what did I experience this year? What did I do, see, feel? And then number 10 is dream. So create time to daydream about the new year. What do you hope to see, taste, touch, smell, and hear in 2022? List everything that comes to mind and focus on the experiences you hope to have. Maybe you've been wanting to get to Europe or get to the other side of the country or go visit a family member, in a nearby town. What are some of these experiences that you want to have in 2022? So do some dreaming around that. So again, number 1, get outside. You'll find all these over in the show notes, by the way. Center yourself, give, be kind, breathe, travel lightly, express gratitude, get moving, celebrate, and dream. All good things, right? And you'll, again, find a link in the show notes, KimberlyWilson.com/5712, the Tea with Kimberly episode from last year. So finally, if you're not signed up for Love Notes, please do so at KimberlyWilson.com/Love Notes, and you'll get invites, inspiration, and more. I already sent one out this week, so look for one next week. And then also there's a link to browse my 6 books and planner, 2 that are really, really great for this time of the year. The Tranquility du Jour Daybook, which is my planner, and then also Year of Tranquility, which is a lifestyle planner. So it's not so much about day to day, it's more about the big picture. And that's what we'll be diving into further in the Coterie. Follow along on Instagram and YouTube. As I've mentioned, I'm going to be phasing out Facebook in the new year. And if you have a moment to share a review of this podcast on Apple Podcasts or any of my books on Amazon or Goodreads, I would be so, so grateful. Send me a screenshot and I will send you a treat. All right, loves. So I wish you a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. I'll be back next week with a really exciting episode. And then may take the last week of the year off. We'll see. And if not, I'll be back with a personalized podcast, probably a bit of a year in review actually for you. And then right around the corner is 2022. So stay tuned for all that's ahead. Check out the Coterie. Would love to have you with us. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Wishing you a delicious, delightful rest of your week. Namaste.